So WrestleMania Night 1 is in the books. What up, everybody? I'm Joe White, and I'm going to give you my review. And then we're also going to talk about one other thing that happened online tonight. Um, that it really has me pissed off, and then it also has me cocking my head to the side like a curious dog going, why? But let's get into WrestleMania Night 1. They kicked off the show with Rhea Ripley um, retaining the world women's world championship, and they went 17 minutes and 5 seconds. And I will tell you that I enjoyed this match. To hear that Becky had been dealing with strep throat all week was crazy. um, the fact that this woman has been going out, all I can say is I hope she wasn't contagious, because this woman has been going out nonstop for the last 2 weeks now, at least, promoting this book of hers, promoting WrestleMania. So I am hoping to God that this woman was not contagious and had already been on antibiotics by the time she started to do all this. Because God knows WWE doctors, if we're to believe the CM Punk story, WWE doctors love to hand out those Z packs. So I'm hoping she was on antibiotics by the time they got to Philly, at least. Um, Good match. I will say my overall thoughts for night one was it was underwhelming. And but at the same time, and I put this on Facebook, they did such a good build for this show. They did so much hype for this show. They did a ton of press. I mean, ESPN, the Pat McAfee show, the MMA hour with Ariel Hawani leading up to it, and then first take and all this good stuff. I don't think there was any way that this show was going to live up to the hype that they created for it. And then the weather too plays a lot into it. I know that Mike Johnson, a PW Insider, reported that they had a heated ring, which means they were pumping hot air out through the ring posts. Um, they used this ring in New York. Last time they were in New York, if you remember, the ring post had little holes in it, and they were pumping hot air through that, and they were also pumping hot air up underneath of it. Um, so yeah, when you're walking out doing your entrance, it's cold. It was, I mean, it was about probably it said it felt like it was 40 degrees outside. Um, but when you got into the ring, it was warm, and that temperature change when you're trying to as an athlete, I can only imagine that that temperature change for you does something to your muscles, going hot, cold, hot, cold. I know that for my knees, I have really bad knees. Going from hot to cold like that can really mess with you. I'm not saying that's a total excuse for why this show underperformed, but this match right here was the opening match was really good. It told a really good story. The right woman won. Um, and I'm curious to see where they go on from here. Do I think that with Raw? Do I think maybe we'll see a rematch between these two? You'll have Becky come out and go, "I had strep throat," blah 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 blah. Maybe, but the ladder match for the titles, both sets of titles had to be retrieved for the match to end. When you immediately saw the two sets of titles hanging there from two different the WWE coat hangers, I immediately said, okay, they're splitting the titles, which left my predictions kind of. I'll give myself the nod for this one because I did predict Awesome Truth to win. If you go back and listen to my predictions video, just like I picked Rhea Ripley to win, I said there was no need for Becky Lynch to win this title. It's not going to sell her any more books. In fact, it debuted as a bestseller. Um, so A Town Down win the SmackDown titles. Um, And then Awesome Truth when the Raw titles, the Judgment Day, are now without their tag team championships. This match was awesome. I'll be honest with you, I really enjoyed this match. I enjoyed the car crashes of this match. Um, Again, maybe the cold weather had something to do with this. Again, that's going to be my crutch throughout this whole thing as to why this just underperformed tonight. Because nothing except for the main event really stood out to me. We didn't really get too many quote unquote WrestleMania moments. Um, but it was awesome to see R-Truth winning a title at WrestleMania. Um, and again, I predicted that they would win, and they did. So there you go. It was a really, really good match. The New Catch Republic of Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate just felt like they did not belong here. They're too technical. They just don't come off as somebody who should be in a ladder match. Also, Dave Meltzer, wrong again. Well, these may not be the teams that go in there. We may see a surprise team come in. No, you don't do that. With the Hardy Boys coming back a few years ago, it was different. But they had set this in stone. They had done such a good job promoting this, running tournaments on a mini tournament on SmackDown, having qualifying matches on Raw. I I would have been disappointed if any of these teams were placed, to be honest with you. So Meltzer once again talking out of both sides of his face, and he'll go on his show. Planes change. Rey Mysterio and Andrade defeated Santos Escobar and Dirty Dominic Mysterio. Now, when it was Dragon Lee in Andrade's spot, people were going, "Well, this is going to be the bathroom match." And for me, this was the match where I would get up and get a snack. I would use the bathroom. What I did see in this match, I liked. I think I got this prediction wrong because I think I picked Dirty Dominic and Escobar to win, and I should not have done my predictions when I did. I should have waited because as soon as they added Andrade to this, you knew that Rey Mysterio was going to win because Andrade's brand new to the company. Overall, this is exactly what you would expect. This was a good match. Lots of interference here on the outside. Lots of flippity flappity floppity flu, and yeah, Rey Mysterio gets the win or WrestleMania win there. Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso. Now this match, I said Jey Uso was going to win, and I was right. But my God, this match! I found this one the hype video for it. The video package was really good. It's probably one of the better video packages that WWE's ever done. Um, but the match just they only had 11 minutes. Um, you know, they gave the ladder match more time than this, but to me, it's like okay, I expected more out of these two. Instead, it's just you throw a super kick. No, I'll throw a super kick. But I will say that even though this match was underwhelming for me, what they did give us made sense. It did tell a story. The commentators were really good here. Um, but and I even put on Facebook, they're showing you how you could throw 50 super kicks in a match and actually make it mean something, and how actually it could be psychologically beneficiary to a match and to a program and to a story. You're not just going out there kicking for the sake of kicking. However, I feel like that's all this match was them throwing super kicks back and forth to one another. Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi defeated Damage Control. I do like the new Damage Control theme. This was exactly what it needed to be. They gave them 8 minutes. Now, I will say that after the match, the reporters after the match, what do you? These people sent in a question for you. What do you think about you being a role model for other women of color to come in and do it? Oh God, give me a break with the damn virtue signaling and the damn woke bull crap. I don't care what the color. I mean, you had two Asian women and an Australian woman in there too. So, I think that as far as a tag match goes, I enjoyed it. I like Jade Cargill. I'm a huge Jade Cargill fan. Go back and watch other videos on this channel where I did my AEW reviews. I put Jade Cargill over from the very beginning. And when she comes in there and just tears house and is a monster, I love it. And that's exactly what she did here. That's exactly what needed to be done. This match exactly served its purpose. I really don't have a bad thing to say about it. Then we get to match number 6, and this was my this right here was really really good from a technical standpoint. This was match of the night. Sami Zayn defeating Gunther, and I loved Gunther here. It's kind of crazy how his title run was 666 days long. For all you religious nuts out there, 666. Um, I loved Gunther here, and I love Sami Zayn here, and I love the element of. I really did like the backstage deal where he's backstage, but it felt real. It did not feel like okay, we're gonna block this out. You're gonna stand here, then you're gonna stand here, and let's make it a two shot here and a three. No, this did not feel like a produced, manufactured backstage vignette. This felt like it was real, and it was real. It was in real time. Um, him with his son. Hey, Bubba has to go out there and wrestle. Keep him back here, even though she's going to sit in the crowd. So it made me wonder who's watching your kid. Does WWE have a date? I mean, because WrestleMania is famous for invite your family. We want your family here. We want this to be an experience. Blah blah blah. Who's watching his kid while she's out there cheering him on for the cameras? Is what my thought was. But Sami Zayn did an awesome job here. I really enjoyed Gunther. Gunther doing his deal where he would, he's got that smile on his face and he thinks he's got this. And he's looking at Sammy's, wife going, hey, look at your husband. Ha, 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 ha. I'm a real man. Look at this guy. You know, it told a really good story. I I did not want Sami Zayn to win this match. I got to be honest. I wanted Gunther to carry on. But after watching the match, the right guy won. So I think that this was my second favorite match of the night. They gave these guys about 15 and a half minutes, and they used every inch of it, every second of it, to tell a story, and they told a beautiful story. It was really good, really good. This was one of the matches where I felt like they didn't hype it up as much, and they didn't really have time to hype it up as much. But it delivered beyond what they had hyped it up. Um, You had Sami Zayn in the back also with Chad Gable, and Chad Gable's going, hey, you owe me one. If you win this, you owe me one. So we already have a program coming out of it. The Kevin Owens tie in, where he's waiting for him just outside of Gorilla. And, hey, let's go get it. Let's go bring it home. Now I want to see Sami Zayn. This kind of changes my prediction here. I would love to see Sami Zayn at the same place for Kevin Owens tomorrow night, or tonight rather, at the time I'm recording this, and you get that Eddie. I know we're not supposed to speak of him, but in a good way. But you get the Eddie Guerrero Chris Benoit at the end of WrestleMania 20 moment where two guys from Canada, they held the tag titles. Um, they lost last. They won the tag titles last year. They quickly lost them and were dissolved as a team thereafter. Now they are both singles champions, and they hold the number two titles in the company. Not that that's a bad thing, because the Intercontinental title is seen as, like, the next step before the world title. Not that Sami Zayn's ever going to get there. I'm sorry. He even says it. He's not the guy. But to see those two having that Benoit Guerrero moment during WrestleMania, but then both holding the two titles. Hey, two boys from Canada. We started from the bottom, and now look where we're at. So I think it would be a really good moment. The Bloodline. defeating Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, I said that there was no way that the Bloodline was not winning this match. I liked the aspect, they could have pretty much said, hey, this is no DQ. Because right 5 minutes into the match, they're outside, and The Rock is telling the referee, hey, if you count, you're fired. So The Rock is, and the commentators played it up as, oh, The Rock using his status on the board of directors to, keep themselves from getting counted out. And it's pretty much bloodline rules already. You didn't have any interference from Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Solo, none of that. But I really enjoyed this match. The Rock did not disappoint. The Rock is back. He's in phenomenal shape. Um, I was surprised to see him come out there and wrestle in short tights. I thought maybe we would get some of the corporate Rock where he used to wrestle in the track suits back in the early part of '99. But this was amazing. Everybody was on their A game here. Everybody delivered here. The facial expression after the loss on Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins' face, especially Cody Rhodes, was freaking phenomenal. It told a story. This match told one hell of a story, and it lived up to the hype. Um, I would have, honestly, this was amazing, and we still got 6 matches tomorrow. Um, but whereas last year, a lot of people last year said night one last year was better than night two. I think we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see some surprises on this show, and The Rock even said as much. Hey, you could fully well expect some surprises. So I think night two, with Cody finishing the story, I don't want to say that this match felt like a formality, but it was a formality. It was a way to get you from point A to point B, from night one to night two, and they did a really good job of it. Um, a couple of matches that they added that I don't think I got to was the Pride, which is Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, with B Fab versus the Final Testament, Karrion Cross, the Authors of Pain with Scarlett and Paul Ellering. I look for Bobby Lashley and them to win that because why should they give Karrion Cross a win at WrestleMania? It's a Philadelphia street fight. Um, uh, Rollins versus McIntyre is probably going to kick the show off. And they better be hyping up the fact of, hey, you just main evented night one, in less than 24 hours later, here you are in about, 20 hours later, 22 hours later, here you are defending your world title. The fact that they were playing on Rollins' knee last night, being injured, going into this match, I think it's a pretty much a lock that Drew McIntyre is walking out of there with the belt. Um, but yeah, night one of WrestleMania. I didn't have that oh my god feeling. I didn't really at the coming off of this. I didn't feel like wow, what a show. But maybe that's just me. I mean, the matches were good. Everybody busted their ass off and worked their asses off. I just think the match order they should have started with that ladder match, and Rhea Ripley and them should have been maybe in between the Intercontinental and the World title. I think that starting off with Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch was a mistake. Um, again, I don't know if the weather played anything into this, but I just feel like I feel something tells me that tonight, night two, is going to be way better than what night one was. All right, let's move on. So, for some reason, as much as they wanted to get rid of CM Punk, they can't stop talking about him. He's like the girlfriend that you know you can't be with, but yet you obsess over constantly in the back of your mind. Dynamite does two shitty ratings. Dynamite and Collision did really crappy ratings. You had Adam Copeland even go out there and do a rah rah speech for the 7,000 fans in attendance. And then this the Young Bucks will discuss the quote unquote footage. Um, this is from Post Wrestling. As a late night installment of AEW Collision was airing on TNT, an addition was made to the April 10th edition of Dynamite. The Young Bucks are going to be presenting backstage footage from All In London, and they'll discuss it for the first time. At this first AEW event in Wembley Stadium, Jack Perry and CM Punk got into a physical altercation that led to Perry being suspended and Punk being fired. As of late, the Young Bucks and Jack Perry have been making references to one another and shouting each other out. Perry is currently competing in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Matthew and Nicholas are going to be facing FTR in the vacant tag team title tournament final at Dynasty. Anyway, um, it it boggles my mind how you're using this to pop a rating. It's amazing how you still can't just let this guy go. You didn't even want him there. You did not even want him in the company. And now, and again, it all trickles down from the top. So this is Tony Khan approving this, but you you just can't let this guy go. And you hate the fact that he actually went on the MMA Hour and spilled the tea about what really happened. And now it's like, oh no, we have footage. We have footage. We're going to show you what really happened. Show us. Show us what really happened. You're still not going to be able to talk about what triggered this whole thing in the beginning, which was Brawl Out. And you, this is just stupid. This is just flat out childish. It's stupid. It's the guys at Post Wrestling even said it on their video. This is basically when Bischoff came out and challenged Vince McMahon to a fight at Slamboree in 1998. This is just flat out cheap. It feels cheap. It looks cheap. It is cheap. And if you now, it's at a point where you know your audience. This proves that they're playing to that smart mark audience. They know they don't have casual fans. They know they're not drawing little kids, to drag their soccer moms, over to the wrestling show. That they know that their audience is nothing more than 1 million dirt cheap followers. If they can even crack a million, if they can even interest all of them. The 700,000 people who watch your show and the 7,000, if you're lucky, that show up to your building are on their phones reading the Observer and listening to podcasts like this. So I don't know what to make of this, but this is again, it's like, just let the man go away. So what? He did an interview where he pretty much buried you. But he also did say that he wishes him nothing but the best. He's got a lot of friends there, blah, 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 blah. I mean, what did you expect Punk to do? Pull a Tony Khan on Ariel Hawani's show and go, that doesn't serve me. I'm not going to talk about that, but thank you anyway. Punk even did that. Punk even said that on the Ariel Hawani show. You asked the question. I don't want to answer it, but I am going to answer it because it does me no good, and it does no good for your show and for me to come on here and go, I can't talk about that. Thanks for asking. That doesn't serve me. Excuse me while I do another line. You know, I think Tony Khan's angry. I think Tony Khan. Here's what's going on. Tony Khan realizes he made a mistake. He fired the wrong guys. But at the same time, he's pissed that his bad decisions are now coming back to haunt him. The biggest, yes, I know CM Punk probably didn't have anything to do with it. Highest grossing Raw gate in history. SmackDown had the highest grossing SmackDown in history. You've had, they're in double digits now of sellouts for TV. Punk even said so himself. I don't need to be here. They're going to be, if I leave, these people will be just fine without me. I'm the icing on the cake. And I'm happy to be here. I have nothing but good things to say about Punk coming back, and that's not just because I'm biased. I am a CM Punk fan. But when the money mark, this is childish. This is flat out childish. On Tony Khan's part, on the Young Bucks' part, you know, this is pretty much like, oh yeah, well we got video package footage to back up what we say, and how do we know that if they do show this footage and if they do present it in a serious way, which I don't think they will, how do we know that you're not going to edit this to serve your own narrative? Of course you are. You're not going to show what really happened. You're not going to give a backstory to what really happened. Unless this facilitates a Jack Perry return, this is just stupid. It's flat out stupid. Anyway, folks, that's going to be it for me today. I'm getting off here. Looking forward tonight to a Mania. Again, I just think that they hyped this show and promoted this show maybe a little too good, um, a little too well for their own good, I should say, because people were so ramped up, and WWE has been everywhere this week. But I still enjoyed the show. I don't think we got too many quote unquote WrestleMania moments out of it. And I don't think it quite lived up to the hype, but then again, the hype was so great that I don't think it could have. Anyway, folks, we'll see you down the road.